Recorded.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Diamond Factory. This is where diamonds are made. Diamond is our highest ranking in Akana. For those of you that are here for the very first time, we want to welcome you to the nation, welcome you to the family. I'm Dr. Roz. I am the VP of Communications. And this morning, I want to share some very powerful information with you because I think that there's so many things that are happening in our lives, but I want to ask you: are there ever times when you feel like it's just not moving fast enough? Are those times when you get in that slump, or you get in that mental place where, God, man, I've been here this amount of time, and it doesn't matter what that amount of time is. That could be 5 years, 3 years, 3 months, because we often have preconceived ideas of what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. I used to teach a message many years ago called Getting the Victory Over Time. If there was no worry about time, we would not be sluggish. We would not get disenchanted. Back in the day, when our parents used to cook, they cooked long times. They did slow cooking. Nowadays, we want everything really, really fast. That's why people have gotten into the microwave and the fast food and all these cravings and these things that take place. And still, if you really are a cook, some of the best dishes take a little bit longer when they cook slow. Yeah, the taste begins to savor. So sometimes in our lives, sometimes in our business, when progress feels like it's slow, here's what's important: stay patient and stay persistent. Yeah, they both start with P's: patience and persistence. And I know we hear that often. We hear uh, those two words over and over and over and over again in our lives, but really, that's really the antidote. That really is the thing that helps us get to where we're trying to go. I mean, if you're going, and it depends on where you're trying to go. If I'm leaving from Texas and I'm going to California, it's going to take me longer to get there. But if I'm just going around the corner, okay, I can get there faster. So it doesn't rely as much patience and persistence. But if I'm leaving here and I'm going to Florida, or if I'm going to Miami, Florida, I got to have a little more patience if I'm driving. Even if I'm flying, if you're flying across the country, you got to be on the plane a longer time. So it requires that word that we don't like to talk about: patience. Well, what is patience? What is patience? Patience is that ability, the ability to endure, the ability to endure. Let me say that again: and to remain calm and composed in the face of delay. And guess what? In this life, there are going to be some delays. In this life, there are going to be some frustrations or some adverse situations. But here's what patience is: patience is not just the ability to be calm and composed in those situations, it's the ability to do it without becoming anxious or without becoming agitated. See, you can endure a whole lot of stuff, but your emotions might be all over the place. You may be crazy by the time in your head and in your mind and in your spirit and in your emotions. But to be able to do it without becoming anxious or agitated, that's what patience is. It's the willingness to endure difficulties or wait for the desired outcome. What is a desired outcome? We all want to achieve a certain thing here at Akana. We all have goals that we want to achieve. This is March Madness, and you have goals that you want to achieve with your CV and with your coaches that you want to bring on board and your business partners that you want to bring on board. And I hear people all the time, "Oh, I just need more business partners," and they get all angsty about it. And because of that attitude, because of that atmosphere that they operate in, guess what? You block yourself. But when we're patient, it's the willingness, and we don't have to, I tell people, don't pray for patience because you're going to get it one way or the other, because God will give you situations for you to be in. When you're sitting in traffic, when you get in a traffic jam, when there's an accident that happens and all the cars are backed up, We got to start looking at that situation and say, here's an opportunity now for me to develop my patience. So do some things so that you're not agitated. Put some music on, put something on, start singing to yourself, even if you can't sing. You make a joyful noise yourself, but have the willingness to endure that difficulty until you get to your desired outcome. Here's what I thought about this morning. I thought about pregnancy. And this will relate to so many of you that have been pregnant. And now the men, maybe you haven't been pregnant, but maybe you've been around a pregnant woman. Maybe you have a child and your wife or your significant other was pregnant. Well, guess what? It was a process. Pregnancy has a process. And when I thought about the process of pregnancy, I thought about the process of our business. Pregnancy has a process: conception, implantation, development of the embryo, development of the fetus, trimesters, 3 of them, the labor, and the birth. Now, let's think about that. Think about that child you had, or those children that you had. When were they conceived? And then there was an implantation, and then there was some development of the embryo. And all of this that took place, you probably didn't see hardly anything happening. Maybe you didn't even show. Maybe you hadn't even got a pregnancy test yet. But as it continued, as the process continued into the development of the fetus and those trimesters, yes, 3 of them, that you had to keep going to the doctor about, and brothers, you had to be there with them through that all. And then the labor. Oh my God. Some people can give a real serious testimony about the labor. Some of you had easy labors, and some of you had difficult labors, and some of you had long labors. But the ultimate reward was the birth. But it was a process. And you couldn't hurry it. Yeah, no matter how you said, I can't wait to have this child, I can't wait for this pregnancy to be over, you couldn't hurry it. Because if you hurry the stages, you risk the chance of complications. So our business is a process. And each of us on this call this morning, each of us that are listening to this recording, each of us is pregnant with vision, pregnant with possibility, pregnant with goals and dreams and ideals. You're pregnant. Yes, men and women, you are pregnant, and you must stay patient and persistent. Persistent. Persistent is steadfast determination. Steadfast. I will not turn back. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to be in it to win it. All we do is win. Steadfast determination to continue pursuing your goal or your course of action, whatever that is, despite the obstacles, despite the setbacks, despite the challenges along the way. Even when the progress is slow, or even when the progress is difficult. Persistence. I've got to be persistent. You got to tell yourself that. You got to look at yourself in the mirror. I'm going to be persistent. I'm going to stay in this thing. I'm going to keep on moving forward. I'm going to keep on doing what I got to do. And what I don't know how to do, I'm going to learn how to do. And some of you don't recognize how much progress you've made. I mean, we are the most difficult people to ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves. If you've learned anything, you've made progress. I taught this once. I said progress, not perfection. You got to recognize it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. If you know something you didn't know before, if you get on one of the calls and you learn something that you didn't learn before, that you did not know before, that is progress to get you across the finish line. So maybe you need to look back and reflect on the progress you have. Take a step back and assess how far you have come. Recognize and celebrate the achievements They don't, no matter how small they are, something can be an achievement to you that maybe somebody else think that's small. But if it's an achievement to you, celebrate that. Secondly, reevaluate your goals, reevaluate where you're trying to get to and why you're doing this. Why did you join Akana? Why did you join network marketing? Why did you get into this business in the first place? Because there were some changes that you wanted to make that could not be made in any other venue. Yeah, it wasn't going to be made on a job. And you want those goals to be realistic goals and make adjustments likewise. We always talk about breaking it down. The third thing to do so that you don't get in a slump or you don't feel like you're not making progress when it feels like you might be making progress. And Scott Reese really talked about this on this past Saturday about keeping it simple. Break the task down. Sometimes progress feels slow because we're overwhelmed. So break it down. Break it down. Our diamond, Willie Mooney, is really an expert at this, in breaking it down to its common denominator, to its finest thing. That here's what you do for month one. Here's what you do in day one, day two, how many days we have left in the month of March. Break that thing down. How many people do I need to talk to? How many customers do I need to reach? How many times do I need to make a post? Break it down. And then always be open, number 4, to get the feedback from other people. Everybody around here can be a mentor to somebody. One of the things I love about the atmosphere, the community of Akana, is that there are mentors and coaches all over the place. People are open on every team, downline and sideline. You don't have to say, well, my upline won't do this, and my upline and my sponsor won't do this. So what? Reach out somewhere else. Find some help somewhere. And then number 5, stay consistent. Consistent. How many times have you heard it? Because it works. We think something else works, but this is what works, staying consistent. And if you go back in life and read up on anybody that's been successful, from Thomas Edison all the way back to today's people who have succeeded and become multi-millionaires and billionaires, somewhere in their life, they had to keep doing it until it happened, staying consistent. Keep showing up. Keep putting in the effort, even when the results are not immediate. Consistency. It's the key. I mean, I know we want a quick fix. We want to snap our fingers and just, it's going to happen. But if you keep doing it long enough, Coach Dan has told us, what you keep doing, it's going to happen. And number 6, practice patience. Practice it. Get better at it. Somebody, you say to me, but Dr., I'm just not patient. Well, does it have to be that way? Do you have to label yourself as being an impatient person for the rest of your life? Can't you read what I tell you on the other week? Can't you retrain, reframe this? Can't you rewire your brain? Practice patience. Stay patient and trust the process, knowing that each step forward is bringing you closer to your goal. I'm almost done. Number 7, stay motivated. Do whatever you got to do to keep yourself motivated. I tell you, look at yourself in the mirror and pat yourself on the back and motivate yourself. Talk good about yourself. Find something that inspires you. Remind yourself of the reason why you started this journey and visualize your desired outcome. Don't always focusing on where you are. Focus on where you're going. Look in the front mirror, not the rearview mirror all of the time. I didn't say never look in the rearview mirror, because we learn from our past mistakes. But you only glance in the rearview mirror, but you focus on that front mirror when you're driving that car. Yeah, you just glance back there, because otherwise you're going to have a wreck. Number 8, keep learning. Keep learning. Focus on learning. Embrace this journey of learning, because every obstacle presents a chance to develop something new, some new skill. And number 9, adjust your expectations. Sometimes our expectations are so high that we get upset because we don't reach a certain goal. That's why it's important to celebrate every step that you make. Sometimes progress can be slower than anticipated because of certain things that happen in our lives. Life be life, and y'all, life happens. There's some external factors that take place in our life that just slow things down a little bit, but it's because of life, and you can't do anything about it. It's that process of the pregnancy. So we got to be flexible and adjust those expectations at that particular time. And lastly, and probably the most important of all, is to stay grateful. Yeah, stay grateful. Practice being grateful. Thank you for where I am. Thank you for where I've been. Thank you for where I'm going. Thank you for what's about to happen. Thank you for what hasn't happened yet. Give me the spirit of gratitude. Practice gratitude for the progress you've made. Practice gratitude for the opportunity that's before us. It gives you that positive mindset that can help you stay motivated during the slow periods. So listen, tonight is Tuesday. Is Dr. Betty on this call anywhere? Dr. Betty, are you here? Dr. Betty, are you here? Tonight at 7 p.m., you want to be on that call, be on that call. And let's receive the things that will be shared by the wellness experts. And so, listen, have a great Akana day. Let's be blessed. If I messed that up, right? So if Phyllis Nash was here, she'd tell us what? Push. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.